The upstairs hall bath sink was covered over underneath. Discovered a leak. We have a flexible tube, although this ideally should be a smooth wall pipe. This sometimes can make restrictions. We've got some imperfections at the base. And the drain stopper, I didn't even let all the water out. But I'm gonna leave this here, leave it just like this for them to take a look at. We have a loose tub spout and a gap between the wall. Water can get through here.
No vents under the stairs. We'll have to check that out once we get inside. And some of the trim is sticking out. Stucco sealant, acrylic sealant to seal it, or polyurethane. Here we have a water heater flue vent that extends a long distance. As you can see, all the carbon monoxide escapes out. This vent needs to be over this vent so the continued gas can continue going out. Same thing here. As the gas comes out, it escapes here. So all these need to be repositioned. Also, the flue vent should extend out further and should be straight so the rain doesn't come in between the top of the cap. There is some damage to the top of the cap, and ice and water shield barrier is not recommended. Foil aluminum tape to wrap all seams. On the right hand side, right next to the mini split and the comfort maker, we have two windows. We're missing the mullion here. It's damaged trim. This window does not lock. I can stick my fingers underneath here. And then some of the stops are also damaged. At the two AC condensers and the mini split, where the mini splits go into the enter of the wall, we should have protection, and it should also have a sealed cap. Here they're using an aluminum, I think it's a vinyl. Yeah, vinyl cover. They do make the special exterior attachments that protects the lines, and it also has a rain cap, kind of like a dry event, that it goes above this. You have to order them from AC Supply or the manufacturer that you got the mini split from, but those are the ones that are required and to prevent all that water from entering. On the right side by the AC compressors, the grading slopes toward the foundation. We recommend either subsurface drainage or regrading that everything goes there. We do not recommend adding more soil against the block wall because this is going to absorb and wick into the wall system, thus causing efflorescence and suspected mold growth. All vegetation should be trimmed away from the house about 2 feet. All openings in the walls on the right side and back here should all be completely sealed, possibly a rain cover such as a dry event. It's basically the length of the column, 1/3 the distance, the column becomes unstable. Apparently concrete patchwork has been done, which covers the metal handrails. Monitor for rusting. Finish stucco trim work at the front porch, right side near the column, and under the eaves where large gaps and openings where pests and water can infiltrate. At the front right side, like I said, there has been some concrete work. It looks like they used about a 2 or 3 inch concrete base to fill. I would continue on this way to extend out. The column at the front right is leaning. I did reach the top of the porch and push on the column, which was secured. Anything more than 1/3 of the length of the column is usually considered unstable. The column was not unstable. I would monitor this. Some of the fiber mesh that's applied to the block wall is sticking out. We do recommend finish work be done. There is no GFCI ground fault circuit interrupter or any outlets on the front porch area or deck area. We always recommend ground faults be installed to limit the use of extension cords. Coming down from the stairs toward the basement and from the top of the tread to the bottom of the head clearance, we have about 64 3/4, 65 inches, which is a little shy of where you're supposed to be. 6 foot, 6 inches is the recommended for head clearance. All right, I'm laying down on the ground in the laundry room, and under the windowsill, you'll see some dirt tubes. No damage. The wood is still solid. Everywhere I'm probing. All right, go ahead and make repairs and keep the house under a termite contract. Of course, wood windows with construction screws won't be opened. We're at the electrical panel, and you'll notice there's a 220 15 amp circuit, and when you remove this rubber boot, you'll expose these prongs. That means these prongs is hot. You should have a female, so nobody gets hurt. So if I turn this on, this breaker on, this will have power. Anybody touching this is going to get shot. We have a gas water heater, conventional tank, metal drain pan, aluminum drain pan, drain line, red PEX. We have 2 PEX coming up at the top. We need to remove that and put 18-inch extensions, copper. Then you can install the PEX. But it has to be 18-inch copper on any water heater, electric or gas, especially gas, because we're so close to the units and we don't want this melting. I'm still in the laundry room, and I'm underneath the stairs landing. So, as you can see, I'm underneath. And we have some old wood destroying insect damage. Now the outside 2x12 has a little bit more damage, but as I probe, it stops. It gets better along the way, but it's just this very end. But this up here is still sound, and that's the key, that everything else that it's attached to is still sound. So I think we're okay there. We could add a sister, go all the way through and bolt if you wanted to, but I think structurally you're okay. Notice in the laundry room there's a few dips and low areas and high spots. Doesn't appear to be any structural conditions. As I walk to the water heater, there's a little slope, and you can see it right here under the window. Before they laid the floor, it would have been nice if they would have poured concrete and floated the floor out to level it. Apparently, they've had some stains before. This is the floor joist, and the subfloor above is on the laundry room. So there's an access panel for the electrical next to the water heater. And when you look up, you'll see the floor joists, and you'll see some stains. There's probably some old pre-existing conditions. Of course, I can't really get in there to probe anything. All right, with most wood windows, they have painted them shut, so I'm unable to open them. As you can see, give it a push, but it doesn't open. This happens to be downstairs by the basement in the driveway area, the door, and the laundry room. Just an FYI, there's going to be a minimum amount of outlets in the basement area. Anything 2 foot requires a basement. I know this is an old system, but when upgrading, they should have continued with the outlets. That way every wall that has 2 feet should have an outlet. The outlets that were tested work fine. At the side door, on St. Roch Street side, left side, additional screws, security screws could be installed. Because it's a block wall and the door jamb is made for a 2x4 wall, you can extend these strike plates out, add some flashing, so it would stop rubbing. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So we have this beveled latch here, and this latch right here is just going to strike this wood and continue to rub across there until it gets to this strike plate. So they do make longer strike plates. You can put a piece of metal or continue the use as this. Works fine, just missing the strike plate extension. So I'm in the back of the house and they're using this shoe molding or trim to hold the window down because it doesn't lock. Easy to raise, operate, but doesn't lock. So very back door sticks when you open it. So adjustments on the handles, a little too tight probably. So this is the front right, downstairs basement. You can see the mini split system over here, closet door and entrance door. Neither one of them close, and they stick or rub at the frame. Adjustments are recommended. All right, inside the basement, you'll see some brick, and you'll see some deterioration and some cracks underneath that. We have some 3/8 rebar, rod bore, and we got some cracks right here. What I would do is strengthen this area here by putting in a steel lintel, angle iron, and then making concrete repairs underneath as well as here. I noticed this is going to be the porch and the wall, and we have some spray foam in this area. We want to make sure that this is flashed properly just to make sure there's no leaks at this area. All right, I'm in the basement and we got water pouring in. So I had asked the client to run some water on the porch. So underneath the house, pretty much everything slopes toward which street? Gentilly Boulevard to the front. But here's some floor joists. We got some cross bracing, which is fine. I guess they had notched this out. They were going to put a cleat here, or they had a cleat here at one time. So we have these true beams. We want to go ahead and bolt these together, and at some point install some joist hangers, which would probably help. I know they have a eye sensor here, but a cleat also would help as well. So we have a handrail. We always do recommend that the rails return back to the wall, just so nothing gets snagged down here and up at the top. I'm okay with the 2x8s. The horizontal rails, I guess, are fine. I just try to prevent the kids from climbing up like a ladder and jumping off. But I guess if the city approved it, then it's okay.
All of the fiberglass bat insulation in the attic is installed with the vapor paper barrier facing up. Ideally, it should be installed facing down towards the controlled space, which is going to be the heated or cooled area. That's going to be throughout the entire attic. So we just recommend reversing this insulation to prevent any kind of moisture problems. We're over here about the chimney in the attic. We can see as this rafter comes down, we have some split and some termite damage at the end there. As we come around, you can see that we have some damaged roof sheathing boards with some staining, so we may have had a prior leak here. Also, this wall top plate that runs from left to right, which these rafters sit on, is damaged at the end. That's termite damage. So also you can notice that they made a repair to this joist, but they didn't extend it all the way to that plate on which it rests upon. So we need to have a further evaluation of this. Can't see behind the walls, but this top plate that this rafter right here is resting on is not being supported.